Hi, I'm Matt Peck. That game sucked. Here's my hat. It's on the floor now. We're going to talk about the loss to the Blazers and probably Modest Buzelis and, hey, the latest rumors about Patrick Williams being on the trade block, ? All that's next here on CHGO Bulls. I'm Matt Peck.
What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into CHGO Bulls Postgame. Coming to you live from our studios here in West Loop, downtown Chicago, late on a Sunday night. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck. Katie just borrowed my voice for a second. That's Big Day. Bow! BAWL Sports.
Will borrowed mine.
Will Go Gottlieb, perfectly coiffed, back where he belongs.
Stunning.
On set with us, Will_Gottlieb and Queen of the Controls, and the person giving you your cold open this evening, the one and only Katie W. What's up, Katie?
Hi.
Dr. Professor. That sounded a little different to start. Shout out to Dreads, Pit Boss Butters saying Bulls are so back. Neil C. Red UK, Pete Will had a bookend performance tonight, played, quote, with interest for the first and last 2 minutes. We have a Mark K in the chat. What's going on, buddy? Who apparently just wanted to let everyone know that he likes turtles.
Ah, it's important.
I like turtles.
Yes.
Turtles are cool. Guys, Bulls fall to the Blazers 113-102 to kick off this little 3-game West Coast swing. Their 5th straight loss on the tail of that homestand. And get this, you ready for this?
Come on.
The Bulls are now 18-25.
I know that's blowing your mind.
That is 7 games under 500.
They're breaking your rule.
That is more than double
just means
the amount of games under 500 they are supposed to be. It is wild. It is truly blowing my mind. Initial thoughts on that one, gentlemen? Hit the like button, by the way.
Yeah, they stink.
Woo!
That's a horrible loss against a really, really bad basketball team who didn't really play NBA basketball, per se. It was more of a one-on-one in the gym kind of game that the Blazers play. I love their last 4 minutes. That let me know that they're actually coached pretty well because their ball control in the last 4 minutes was really great. And how they ran that clock down. Actually, the last 6 minutes was really great. Just how they ran that clock down to like 5 seconds, and then they ran a play. Didn't matter that they shot an air ball 3 from 30 feet away. Ran 24 seconds off the clock. And they still were getting wide open layups even during that time. I don't know. The Bulls were just absolutely bad, horrible, terrible, whatever adjective you want or verb you want to throw in there, man. Like they suck, period, point blank. Like it was that bad of a basketball game for them. They started off pretty well, thought that they were going to, kind of run away with it. And we've stated that the Bulls play down to their competition a lot. I guess that's why they've lost all these games in a row, because the competition that they've been playing against has not been good. But they've just been bad. Zach's doing what Zach does. Vuc's doing what Vuc does. And everybody else is just disappearing off the face of the earth. Giddey got infected with the Patrick Williams disease, put up 0 points.
He scored 0 points in 30 minutes.
That's really bad.
How do you even do that?
It's bad. It's what it is. It's bad. Patrick Williams did have 15 points, but it came at the end of the game when nobody cared or was watching.
He had 7 points in the first 90 seconds. Mm-hmm. And then he scored 8 more points when the Bulls had already lost the game.
Yeah, it was done. It was done. Ayo did what Ayo, like I said, you could put it in pen. Ayo's going to get you 10 points. Put it in pen, Ayo gets you 10. That's where it goes. Jalen Smith has come back to earth with his 3-point shooting.
And a couple of really bad turnovers in that second half.
He did. He did.
Jalen Smith, what are you doing, buddy?
Dalen Terry, I honestly didn't think he did anything bad tonight. I thought he was okay. He just didn't play a lot. Modest Buzelis, who everybody honestly is coming to see as far as Bulls fans are concerned, played 11 to 12 minutes in that first half and finished the game with 15 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going on with that.
Barely played in the second.
That's pretty crazy as well.
Despite being you ready for this?
Come on.
Team best +8 off the bench.
Yeah, doesn't make
sense.
THT, I don't know why he's out there. Honestly, I'm concerned. I just want him to get more rest because the way that knee looked didn't look good to me, just how he went down. But overall, yeah, man, it was as Matt would say, it's a poopy performance by the Chicago Bulls, man. They really stunk it up tonight.
Yeah, I think that I tweeted out early in the game that the Blazers looked like the worst basketball team I've seen all season. Like they just were completely disjointed, zero flow to their offense. It was like walk it up, pass the ball to the wing, catch, hold, wait for something to happen, and then just like isolate, shoot a three. I mean, they couldn't make shots. They weren't running in transition. They weren't defending. They looked horrible. And it's not like they looked much better throughout the course of the game. I agree with you that their composure over the last couple minutes was good, and they obviously started to hit some shots, but like this was not a good team.
No.
And obviously, like, you know, the whole conversation of like the Bulls playing down to their opponents, like at a certain point, you're one of them, right? I mean, they're
boom.
What are they? 8 games under 500 now? 7?
7.
It's just they just are not playing like a good team, and it's weird because especially in that last 5-6 minutes when they were down 10 and they had an opportunity to come back against some of these other teams, they have been putting together those runs, right? We saw it against Charlotte. They at least attempted to make a run, come back, got the game to within 2, gave themselves a chance. This game, they didn't even do that. Like, they didn't even get themselves back into the game. They looked defeated, and that was really the first time I've seen that from them. It's hard to imagine that this season is not wearing on them. The way that just they're trending right now, not playing well, shots aren't going in, they've lost their identity. They're not playing to the pace and speed and rim pressure and ball movement that we saw from them early on in the season. They just don't really look like themselves at all. And, you know, they're hearing the like trade noise too. I mean, I have to imagine, I don't think any of them would admit it. I'm not saying that they've said this. My perspective is that it's weighing on them. The pace that they have been playing is wearing them down. The quality of basketball is not as good. And I'm sure they just know. I mean, we're in 10th place. We've been doing this for years now, like banging their heads against the wall, trying to get into the play-in and understanding that this is the situation that they're in. I think it's weighing on them. And I think they will play better, but this part of the year, I think, is clearly a challenge for them.
And look, you know, for a quick assist flex, Goat, you said early on, like during the preseason when we saw them playing this entirely new style of offense, and then through the first 10, 15 games of the season, we were like, wow, they're playing fast. They're getting up a lot of threes. They're actually hitting a respectable amount of them. Can they sustain this? You posed the question, and I think the silent answer or implied answer was probably not. There will be a point in this season where they hit a rut like this, and this new style of play bogs them down, because playing down to the competition and or trying to maintain a completely new style of offense was going to catch up to them, because you were just talking about how the Blazers were playing tonight. It seemed like the Bulls looked at that and were like, all right, we'll play trash ball too. Like, Purdue has sat here many times talking about like what's this team's identity and playing to that identity. Not only that, like, be the aggressor, impose your will on the other team, make your opponent play the style of basketball that you want to play, that leads to wins for your team. And the Bulls strolled into Portland and were like, yeah, we'll not move the ball, we'll dribble too much, we'll take bad shots, we'll turn it over a cajillion times. Like,
yeah,
the Bulls were 1 point allowed shy of tonight being their 5th straight game, giving their opponents 20 or more points off turnovers. Blazers had 19 points off turnovers tonight.
I mean, the other one was the offensive rebounds and second chance points. I mean, 14 offensive rebounds for the Blazers. I don't have the second chance points in front of me, but like, it just felt like they had so many additional opportunities. And that was something that Billy was harping on last game, was just like, we need, and that's why he was starting to call out Patrick, was like, we need rebounding out there. I'm trying to play our power forward out here, and he's getting 3 rebounds a game. Like, they need more from him than that. They need more as a team. And yeah, I just think they seem like emotionally and mentally worn down even more than the physical part.
And like, when you look at a game that was played poorly by both sides, and it's crazy how even a lot of the stats are, Neither team shot the ball well from three. 27.5% for the Bulls, 29% for the Blazers.
8 of 29 is like a last year stat line.
Right, exactly. The Bulls were 8 of 29. Honestly, like, Stacey, my guy, you know I love you, but he would not stop whining in the second half about the number of threes being taken. And I've seen the same thing from Bulls fans on Twitter. Like, if the threes aren't falling, do something else. They only took 29 tonight. They're averaging like 46 a game. So that's not a problem because the Blazers were 9 of 31, basically same efficiency on the same volume. Overall field goal percentage, Bulls 44.4, Blazers a little bit better, 47.2. Basically even at the free throw line. Bulls actually beat them by 2 makes at the free throw line. But the Blazers turned it over less and got up 8 more shots than the Bulls did. On an ugly night for both teams, that could be your deciding factor.
It can be. And I mean also bench scoring because Sharp went crazy against them as well. I think he had 23 against the Bulls coming off the bench. Look, man, like the guys the Bulls depend on to score and to do something for them, they did what they're supposed to do.
This is where I want to go.
Okay, let's do it then.
Keep
let's
doing
do it.
No, I think you're perfect.
But the guys who they depended on, like, it's Zach and it's going to be Vuc. That's going to be your guys. They're going to depend on them. I've said this before. Well, you weren't here when I was saying this, but I was like, we know who they can depend on as far as their quote unquote big three, and Kobe is the other guy. It's the third guy. You know he's going to score. Outside of that, it's a crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to get. So when Zach is having to do everything as we saw him doing, and I want to get a lot more into that a little bit later. And when Vuc is playing the way he was playing, and Vuc was very frustrated, we saw him punch the chair twice. He was that angry. And we saw him with the flagrant foul also tonight. He was that angry. So guys like Kobe White, you're like, well, he's our fourth quarter guy. He's supposed to be the one to do the scoring, to get us there. Kobe was completely off tonight. I saw him crossing himself over. Mid-range shot wasn't hitting. 3-point shot wasn't great. 9 points and 3 rebounds. 1 of 4 from the 3-point line. 4 of 10 overall. He was a -8 with the 2 turnovers as well. And no assists with that. But when you can't depend on Kobe, then it's like, well, who's going to be next? Who can be that next guy to fill that in? Well, maybe Giddey can have that game. Well, then that's 0 points. Maybe Peck can have that game. Well, he didn't even get going until the game was over. Maybe Ayo can get going. But after that 10 that Ayo's going to get you, I can't really put that on him, you know what I mean, to carry the team and get them farther than where they go. But Zach and Vuc are the ones that are keeping them in these games. That's it. That's the ones who are keeping you in these basketball games. Those guys, in my opinion, have got to be removed. They got to be traded, and they got to get out of here so the Bulls can finally just let that wall that's cracking to just fall and just come tumbling down and move on. But, yeah, well, your point, though, you say you want to
No, I think that's exactly the point I wanted to make. It's just like what little success – and I don't want to, like, crush them for their, like, performance tonight or even like the season that they're having.
Sure. This
was not a team that was built to succeed at a high level. I think the people that are like coming to terms with the fact that this is not a very good team right now maybe thought that it was. Like that was never the case with this team. Like they were just not that good. And again, that is not a criticism of any individual. Like there's obviously talent on this team. That's why they've overachieved relative to Vegas's expectations, to my expectations. Like they are a better basketball team than I thought they would be. So it's not about that, but it's about the fact that the success that we've seen from them is being driven entirely by Zach and Vuc. This was a rough game for Kobe, probably one of his worst of the season. Obviously, Giddey, tough night too. But like, it just doesn't inspire a lot of confidence about what they are building towards when, okay, you've committed to trying to get off of Zach and Vuc, but the rest of the guys in your roster are like not giving you much. And I really do think that they are a better team than this and the stretch that they have put together recently. I think that like post-trade deadline, they're going to lock in a little bit and like feel a little bit more secure. I really do think that's affecting them, but just strange to not get anything from the younger veterans that this team was like supposedly building with. I just, that part is disappointing. And again, it's not to discredit what Zach and Vuc have done. They've been incredible. I mean, They combined for 44 points tonight. Like they
were the whole
good enough
offense.
To get you there.
Vuc also led them in assists. Like,
yeah, he had 7.
And who was second? Zach LaVine. Like, it's them. Those are the guys, man, that are carrying them. But what are you carrying me to? You know what I mean? Like, it's not carrying me to, like, these victories that are getting me to a 6 seed or 7 or something like that. You're carrying them to where they are right now, which is a 10th seed. And you're there because the team below you has been even worse. Like, you would be out of there if that team below you was a little bit. They've been even worse. They lost again tonight. So you're kind of stuck, you know, in a rut in that position, and you're spinning your wheels. And when you spin your wheels in a rut, that's where mud goes everywhere, bro. Like, they're just stuck right now.
Oh, it's a fun place to be, isn't it? Shout out to 10 Wheeler's Game Zone in the comments who said, Peck, stop it. Stop pretending like you care. Just be your old negative self and be happy through lost.
Yeah, be you, man.
Happy with the loss? I am happy with the loss. I never denied that I was or said that I wasn't. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about other problems that still exist on this team and the ugly basketball we just watched. Yeah. I'm not mad that the result of the ugly basketball was the loss. Right. That's a good thing for those of us who would like to pick in the top 10 in this summer's draft. As a quick reminder, that doesn't mean we can't be upset about the bad basketball we watched.
Yeah, seriously.
Put a pin in that. We will come back on the other side, get to more of y'all's comments. And we also did want to spend some post-game tonight talking about that report from Cal yesterday about Pat and the trade stuff. So we will get to that too. Hit the like button if you haven't done it yet while we share these words from our friends and sponsors.
Hi, friends.
Tonight's show brought to you by Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Sunnyside is here to help elevate your winter. It is blisteringly cold out there. Tonight, it's going to be really cold again tomorrow through tomorrow night. Hope everybody stays inside, stays warm and safe. But if you're hibernating, maybe the one errand you can run, or maybe should have already done, is that errand to Sunnyside. Mm-hmm. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping. They've got a crazy selection with over 100 different strains to choose from, offering easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Stop into the store nearest you throughout Illinois for expert guidance from their staff and select from quality lines like Cresco and Floracal. And for a limited time, you got to check out their variety of products of Island Vibes, available in disposable vapes, 510 cards, and live resin gummies. You got to check them out for next-level staycations. Good news. Puff Puff Paradise. Destination relaxation. Love the products at Good News. Visit Sunnyside.shop for Bright Buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Just use promo code HICHGO when you check out. Again, HICHGO at checkout will get you 50% off the first 3 times you buy. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright Buys every day, only for 21 and over, and Illinois Med card holders.
Look, fix your floors, all right? Get your floors right. Get them together. There's only one place that you're going to be able to do that, and that is Empire. When? Today. You can do that because with Empire Today, you get that shop at home convenience, the right product for your needs, the quick and professional installation, and, of course, that low price guarantee. Empire's philosophy is to help you find what you need, not overwhelm you with thousands of choices and substitutes. What they leave out of their selection is as important as what they put in. Their product team exhaustively combs through thousands of product samples each year to find the perfect style. That is a lot of samples, ladies and gents. And they got that virtual floor designer, which is a great way to see how the new floors will look in any space. It's very, very easy to pull out your phone, clickety-clack, take that snap that picture, and instantly you will see how your new floors look in your room. Shopping floors at a big box store can be very frustrating. I was just around at the Home Depot, and I said to myself, man, if I want to do floors and get some on my floors, nobody's here right now. Nobody was over there to talk to me. Biff looked over, and then he ran away scared. Immediately, he saw me. He said, oh, no, and he ran away. And I was like, oh, I should have stayed at home if I was doing some floors. Because I would have got it right with Empire, man. That shop at home convenience, man, lets you be calm. It's a beautiful thing. And they service their own warranties, by the way. If there's an issue, it arises, guess what? Just call Empire. You won't have to track down the manufacturer's phone number at all. Schedule that free in-home estimate today. All listeners can receive $350 off when they use that promo code CHGO. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/CHGO for them details, because it's 588-2300. Back Empire Today. Floors. Rolling along, post-game, hanging out late on Sunday night. Thank y'all for hanging out with us. Misery loves company, right, Bulls Nation? Yes.
Shout out to Kimberly, who said, hey, all fell asleep. It was so bad. Woke up to give a like. Thanks, Kimberly.
Appreciate it.
Connor saying, that's the big thing for me. If it's one thing if you're losing and it looks bad. It's a completely different story when the guys you're supposedly building around give you nothing. Where was Modest? Not on the floor for long enough, in my opinion. And it was interesting. We saw Billy go in a little bit of a different direction tonight. Obviously, no Lonzo Ball, resting on hopefully just first night of back-to-back, but they also did have him on the injury report. He got, I think they called it a thigh contusion from that hit he took in their game on Friday. So hopefully he's good to go. But as far as Billy's rotation goes, no Lonzo, but Dalen Terry was the first one off the bench tonight, Dave.
Yeah, he was.
In front of Ayo Dosunmu, who ended up playing, 30-something? Yeah, 32 minutes off the bench, because of course he does. Because Billy loves and trusts Ayo.
He does.
Dalen only ended up playing 16, but Julian Phillips, DNP in the first half, like almost the first three quarters. He came in late in the third for the first time. He ends up playing 5. Billy threw THT out there for 4 desperation minutes when the Bulls were trailing late in the game.
Still don't know why.
But, this is Billy tinkering, I would assume.
Yeah.
And not tank tinkering, because Billy's not trying to lose.
No, he's not. He wants to win, which makes this all the more just what? Like that's what makes it even
much
more
worse if you're
confusing.
trying to win and losing than trying to lose.
Exactly, man. Because if you're trying to, I know it, and then I can lean on that and say, oh, okay, well, you're trying to be this kind of team, so I understand this. It's like watching Portland. I understand what team they're trying to be. We get it. They're not good enough. They understand they're not good enough, so they're just out there running one-on-ones, playing like they in the Y. You know what I mean, and doing their thing, and that's cool. But the Bulls out here like, no, we're trying to win these games, man. We want to get these victories. And the problem I have is you're calling out certain guys and saying, well, not by name, but you're saying we need this and we got to have that and we need these things. These guys aren't going to be able to do it because they're young. They're not going to be ready for that yet. But these guys can give us something better, okay? Great. Go out there and you shoot 25% from 3. Go out there and you get offensive rebound taken away. You know what I mean? Go out there and only 2 guys are going to be in double figures when they score. That's where it gets confusing, because then as a young guy, you're like, well, I think I can help this team. Let me get out there and try. And when you know that you don't have 100% confidence in the person that's putting you in those positions, then you're always looking over your shoulder. That's in any job, in anything that you're doing. If you know that you don't have 100% confidence, you're going to be always looking over your shoulder, always. So I think that's what a lot of those young guys are looking at. They're handling it very well. To their credit, I think Modest handles it very well. I think Julian handles it very well. Dalen also, those guys handle it well. And again, I don't know if these guys are going to be just, well, I think Modest is, but I don't think these guys are just going to be like world beaters and take over. But the point is, I don't know about any of them, what they can do. It's all about this potential, and it's still about potential after 3 years, after 4 years, after 5 years, because there hasn't been that development for these guys. But I'll keep it right here with this year and what I'm seeing. Knowing and saying that you want to win it and want to win and you want to get out there and you want to win, but then not doing what I think you should be doing to put this team in that position to win is confusing as hell to me. If you want to be bad, just be bad. I'm cool with that. If you want to be good, try. I'm not going to be cool with it, but try. It's fine. Let's be a good basketball team. But you can't just continually leave out these guys who look like they can help your team in some way. And one more thing on it, Will. You can't, and this is my problem with not playing Modest. Billy's talked about rebounding. He's talked about defensive pressure and things. Modest leads your team in blocks. You can't leave a guy on your bench who leads your team in something. I don't care if it's free throw percentage. Like, you got to be out there on the floor, man, and you need more minutes and more consistent minutes, not just one half of 11 and the next half of 4, or not just one half of 3 and then we don't see you the rest of the game. When you're leading your team in the blocks and not even close that he's leading the team in the blocks, he has to be out there on the floor because he can provide something to help you actually win a game. Because he had another one tonight, dang it. Like, let him play. Like, let him get out there and play and develop, and let's see what he is. But doing it like this, I just simply don't agree with it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get a disagreement from me. I want to see more Modest. I thought he earned more minutes. He played really well in the first half. Obviously, like, the physicality is still overwhelming from him. There were a couple plays where Jeremy Grant just, like, put him in the rim.
Yeah.
He got a foul. He got the goaltend. Like, but he's also making plays. And, you know, he had 3 rebounds in 15 minutes. Pat had 3 in 26 minutes. So it's not like he's hurting you relative to Pat there. I will say my guess of what Billy is going to say about this after the game is, okay, Modest played well in the first half, but in the second half, but he didn't get a chance to play Julian or Talon at all. In the second half, he wanted to play Julian, and he needed Talon in there to try to generate some points because they were just going through this massive scoring drought.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically has like one position to play with, where it's like you've got your 3 guards, right? You've got Zach, Kobe, and Giddey, and then you've got Io off the bench. And there's just less flexibility in the backcourt than there is in the frontcourt. And so now you're playing some of those guys at the 4. Obviously tonight they didn't have Lonzo, so they weren't going with the 4-guard lineup.
Sure.
But I just think it's like a little bit hard for him to, because I do think there is a part of him that wants to like make sure that everybody gets minutes to like have some sort of development. But my perspective on it, and I think you would agree, is like there needs to be more extended run than just going in there for 1 4-minute stint. Like that's it's hard for me to imagine a guy can get much better with just those minutes. And so I think that's the challenge that Billy's facing, just in terms of like trying to get all these guys minutes. They all play similar positions. You like, I mean, maybe it just has to come out of Pat's minutes. Okay. We can spend more time on that, but it's just like it's difficult to imagine how does he get 4 or 5 different power forwards minutes throughout the course of a game, especially when one's playing well and you want to give them more minutes. That comes at the expense of someone else. So that's a puzzle, and I think Billy is trying to work it out. But and I do think by the end of the year we'll be at a point where Modest is playing 20-ish minutes a night.
Sure.
But like in this portion of the year where you're waiting for that, I definitely understand the frustration, especially on a night like tonight where he is giving you production. He's making plays, he's getting blocks, he's getting out in transition. He's doing the things that help you play to your identity.
Yes.
And a night where you don't have that, you feel like you'd want to feed that, and it just wasn't there.
Not surprisingly, there's a lot of Pat chat in the comments.
Pat chat.
And you just brought him up as maybe somebody who would have his minutes shaved to try and get more minutes for Modest.
And he has. I mean, 26 tonight.
And yeah, 26. He did only play 17 on Friday, which was like the most egregious example we've seen of Billy making a statement with his minutes.
Yeah.
And just, I want to say, like, I really do not think, I think from the outside it looks that way, making a statement based on like getting minutes pulled back or like not starting. Billy is so not, it's just not the way he thinks about it. It's like, I'm in the moment of a game and I'm trying to win. How do I get that to happen?
Well, yeah. So not a statement in that he's saying with the minutes, Pat, I'm punishing you because you're playing like crap. But the minutes that Pat gets are because Billy puts the guys out on the floor who he thinks will give them the best chance to win. And if Pat's number goes down in that regard, Pat knows it means his coach does not see him as a winning player right now.
Yeah, I don't know about like
that might be an oversimplification, but
I hear what you're saying.
It's an XY graph
for sure. And I think a lot of people will look at it that way. I'm just saying I don't think Billy is looking at it that way.
Right.
Just to be clear, because I think
no, and like fair enough if that's what you're trying to make clear is that Billy's not thinking of it that way. I'm saying if I'm Pat, I should be thinking about it that way.
Yeah.
My minutes are getting cut because my coach doesn't believe in me.
That means that you want that sense of urgency to come because of that, correct?
Right. Exactly.
But no.
and like the other thing that I've seen, and some people in the comments talking about, like, you know, Pat's just not in the right role. People are still talking about it. I think JT Scott is one of them talking about it. G Manifesto. Like, we should just, like, Pat needs to be a point forward. And, you know, take away Zach, take away Vuc, really like, put the ball in Pat's hands, and then he'll thrive. Watch the Bulls trade him somewhere else. We'll get to that in a second. And then he'll thrive in the right role. And you know, shout out to our guy, C-Red Fred. He's crazy, but I love him. He was on Twitter tonight talking about, like, all these, you know, P. Will stands who are like, P. Will at the 3. That's the answer. Put P. Will at the 3. And maybe some Bulls fans saying, and we saw him on the floor for a short stint tonight, as you pointed out, Modest at the 4, Pat at the 3. But Fred pointed out on Twitter, like, I don't even know. Y'all think that Pat is more suited to be a 3 because he's not, like, physical and muscular in the sense that he doesn't use his body against bigger players in the NBA.
Yeah.
So put him on the wing. Fred pointed out he also, like, his lateral quickness ain't that great for a 3-and-D player if that's what you want him to be. Well, he was getting crossed over and cooked by Denny Avdia tonight.
Cooked. Flame.
One of a few different Blazers, no offense to them, but obviously some intended, who were cooking Pat Williams on the perimeter.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the dexterity and lateral quickness to be a defensive 3, and you're really not a 4.
But also, when you struggle dribbling.
Thank you. That's what I just said in the comments. How do you want this dude to be a point forward when he dribbles the ball off his foot every time he tries to dribble?
Yeah, like, guys, he really struggles handling the basketball. I don't mind, like, saying, hey, he should be playing more at the 3, give him the ball, put it in his hands. I get your point. I get it. But if you think that that is what is stopping him from being where he is right now, that's completely false. That is just not true, man. Like, again, step one, dribble. Let's start there. Like, you got to learn how to do that first. He crosses himself over, dribbles it off his foot. His IQ doesn't feel like it's as high as it should be when it's on the offensive side of the ball, which I think bleeds into his IQ on the defensive side of the ball, because we saw one play, my God, where when Avia put Vuc into the stands, and he just sat there and watched it. And he was right there. He just sat there and watched it. I'm just saying, man, if you want to move him and move him around, I don't have a problem with all that. But if you think moving him around is going to be like, oh, here come 20 and 10, no, that ain't what it's going to be. I'm sorry, it's break time.
Yeah, it's break time. But real quick, shout out to Rob, Devil's Advocate, fair point. Every Bull got cooked on the perimeter tonight except Io. Kobe was a traffic cone out there.
And Kobe didn't close. I mean, he got pulled at the end of the game.
Yeah,
that he did. One more quick ad break. We will come back with more thoughts on tonight's game and talk about this Patrick trade report. Coming up next. Hit the like.
Will Purdue, would be here right now, and he would be excited because it's his favorite time. Talking about saving money.
He loves talking about
saving money. It's his thing, man.
And he loves saving money.
Saving money, and even more so than that, looking really cool.
Always.
You can do both of them things at once, man. And guess what? There's only one company that's going to allow you to do that. Why?
Never understood?
They ain't understand.
Oh, my God.
That's why I yelled, and people looked at me like, why is he yelling? Because they ain't understand. They ain't even understood. And Shady Rays ain't never understood it either. So they're going to do something about it, ladies and gentlemen. So get ready for the season ahead with those quality shades that are built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have got you covered with those premium polarized shades that will not, I repeat, they will not break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering that world-class product that's rated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have got those durable frames. Their shades have got crystal clear optics, and they makes them the perfect choice for your outdoor. And as this gentleman over here be proven, your indoor intervenciones. Go tell me it's a word.
It is.
He's right.
Truly believe it.
Plus, let's say, got your shades on your hat because you took them off, you put them there. You got angry because somebody was walking down the street and you didn't like them and you threw your hat about it. Oh, right in the street, you broke your glasses.
Patrick Williams was walking down the street and it made me angry.
Oh, he said, why you walking like that, Pat? Crack, splat, look at Pat. And now he's upset. But he remembered 30 days. Worry-free shopping. Send him back in. Right back on his face. Right there. Making him look cooler than ever. It's that lost and broken replacements plan, y'all. No risk when you shop. And their team has always, and I mean always, got your back. So exclusive for the listeners out there, Shady Rays is giving away their best deal of the season. Head to ShadyRays.com. Use that promo code CHGO for 35% off those premium polarized shades. Try for yourself. The shades that are rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Because the Shady Rays, y'all, were the Rays.
Are oh so shady.
Oh, so shady. Big Dave, quick question. What time is it?
Game time!
That's right. Y'all got to check out the Game Time ticketing app. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats.
Get out of here,
you
fluff.
don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets to find the best value. They have curated deals that make it easier to find the best prices on great seats. The Super Deal is the best value for the event. Of course, the seat views. You need to know where you're sitting and what the view will be. On-time ticket delivery, lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. Y'all, they've got coverage covered from coverage A to coverage Z. All them coverage kinds. Curation makes it easiest to find the best value for your tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Plus, the lowest price guarantee on Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find the exact same seat/ticket for a lower price on a different service. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Yes, terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. Because Will the Go Gottlieb, we're going with it.
Game Time. Hoot.
Hey, base.
I was laughing for minutes and minutes and hours that night about Purdue interrupting himself at the end of that game time read when I asked him what time it was.
Dude, I couldn't stop thinking
And
about
he
that
was
after it happened.
And he was like,
It's
game
so
time.
funny.
Hold on.
Right? Like, you have the floor. Like, you don't have to interrupt yourself. Man,
loved
Purdue
it.
is a gym.
Oh, I loved it. Shout out to Jeff Rock. He said, "Oh darn, another loss." Big old smiling emoji.
Oh darn.
Yeah. So, Go, did you have something on the heels of that conversation about Pat and position on the court?
I was just going to say exactly what Dave said. Like, if you want to be a 3, you have to have ball skills. And that's what Billy has said also with some of these lineups is like he wants to get to a point where he's building out rotations where you have Modest and Pat together.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do that and you also are playing a center, you now only have 2 ball handlers in the backcourt. And like they're trying to be a team that has multiple ball handlers that can all get up the court.
Mm-hmm.
And he's basically saying like Pat and Modest are not at that point in their careers where they can do that. And I think that's true. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's like the frustration, like people were like making fun of me for carrying Billy water for Billy or like Patrick or whatever. It's like, you have to understand like what people's motivations are in all of this. Like Billy is just trying to win the best way he knows how. That's his job. He's the coach. Like you can't blame him when they lose or when they win. Like he's just trying to win. I mean, you can say he didn't do a good job at it, but like if you're getting mad at what he is, why he's doing it, I think your frustration is directed at the wrong people. Same with the players. Like you can get mad if a dude has a bad game, fine, but you're just like upset that he is not the player that you want him to be. Like sometimes that is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I look at the decision making and the
Okay.
reason why people are doing the things that they're doing. And when there is an organization who is not telling a coach to try to like throw games, obviously they're not going to do that, but like why else would Billy go into a game trying to lose? And if his bosses weren't telling him to do that, he wouldn't. Why would a player go into a game and not try to win? They would never do that. Mm-hmm. So like, I get the wins and loss frustration stuff, but like, to me, it's all directed at the front office where they are the ones that have to determine a direction here. And they've left it in a position where they're on that line. And that's how you end up the 9th worst team in the league. I mean, this is repeatedly what we've seen from them.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about Pat and Modest, and maybe enjoying the fact that we saw that like young core 5 out on the floor tonight,
Mm-hmm.
which we haven't seen much. How many minutes did you say total we had seen them for, or how many possessions before
With,
that this season?
Modest, Pat, Kobe, and Io.
Yeah.
I believe there was only 16 possessions.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
it
that's
is
nuts.
crazy that is the number of
That's
possessions
nuts, man.
total through 43 games.
Yeah.
Or I guess 42 before tonight when we saw it again briefly.
And like I was saying, you can't throw that out there for like 2 minutes a game.
Yeah.
Like you're already playing, and I think Billy has stated before that like he wants to make sure that he's got veterans around Modest when he's in there, so it's not just like what the Blazers were in the first half. But I don't know. At the same
I
point,
don't
like
care.
you do need to see what you have in some of these guys.
Yeah,
And again,
and
that's
seeing-
an organizational directive.
Right. And to the seeing what you have, shout out to our guy Marquet hanging out in the comments, who said, I think we know the trajectory of all these young guys, specifically Kobe, Io, Pat, Dalen, and Phillips. Modest is the wild card, but we know what they, being the previous names he listed, have or will be on a role guy trajectory. And maybe some Bulls fans disagree with that. Like I saw somebody in the comments earlier saying like, man, Kobe White is just not what I believe they used thought he could be or would be this season after his great year last year. Some of us had doubts about Kobe repeating or even improving upon last season. But I would say Kobe is a very great role player in this league. Maybe a role player capable of being in a starting 5 on a good team, but still a role player. Maybe he shines as a star some nights. He's not a star every night. I feel the same way about Io. Sturdy role player.
Yeah.
One of the most coveted role players on a role player contract in the NBA right now.
Yeah.
If the NBA teams are paying attention to what that guy can provide you.
For sure.
Pat, oh God. Dalen, Julian, looking like role players.
Yeah.
Looking like bench role players. The one we don't know the answer to yet, in my opinion, is Modest.
Correct.
So why the hell are we fighting tooth and nail as fans to get more minutes from this guy? Because Billy's trying to win. I get it, but fuck's sake.
But that throws me up. Like I stated, like you can't I don't understand the statement of we're trying to win and then take out somebody who actually does something well for your team.
Modest was a team best +8 tonight.
That's where I get lost at. If you're like, oh, we don't want to develop guys right now because we're trying to win, and the guys you're developing is rookie season Dalen Terry, is Sanogo, is whoever, whatever else those young guys that we had. Okay, that makes all the sense in the world. But when I'm looking at this dude who actually is helping your team and leading them in statistical categories, that's a dude who has to play because he obviously can do something to help you win the basketball game. So I just really believe he needs a consistent amount of minutes. Like
he is getting a consistent amount of minutes. It's just not enough.
He needs a more consistent amount of minutes. I don't even call it consistent, Will, because one game is going to be 4 minutes and the next game is going to be 11.
Yeah.
For me, that's not consistency. When I say consistency, I'm talking about for sure, give me a hard 16 every time, bro. You know what I mean? Give me that. You know what I mean? I'll take that every day, all day. If that's what you're saying, he's a rookie. We don't develop him. We don't trust him like that. Still, he needs to know that I will be in here for 16 minutes this game and then 16 the next game. 15 maybe, 17 maybe, all of that. But he needs to know consistently how long he is going to be in the game. I don't think he has any clue. We've seen Billy DMP him. We've seen Billy play him for 3 minutes in a blowout game. We've seen him do that. So for me, that's just simply not consistency. Yes, it should be more. It has to be more, but it is not consistent, man. It is consistently inconsistent.
Well, hey, I mean, on the plus side of things, sorry, 1 sec, Katie, I'll toss it to you. Billy said, I need more rebounding from Pat. We need more rebounding from Pat.
Yeah.
Stated it clear as day. He had 1 in their game on Friday.
Let's go.
He had 3 tonight.
Let's go. And that
Yay? So are we going to chime in, Katie?
That third one came in the fourth.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to ask you guys about Modest. If his minutes are going to be like this with the Bulls, would you prefer to see him go down to the G League and play?
No.
Okay.
Never.
All right.
No.
Well, that was a
Never
quick
in
answer to my
life.
question.
Never
Real
in
quick.
life.
I love that we solved it.
Maybe a question that needs to be asked, and I've seen that theory or suggestion made on Bulls Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Billy. When Billy said it before the season started, I was like, don't you dare.
Yes, I remember.
And look, he did get sent down recently, I think, right?
He did.
And then,
they brought him right back.
to get him some tick.
I think it was at the Derrick Rose game.
Right, yeah. But no, he played an entire G League season last year.
Yeah.
NBA minutes is what he needs for growth, to go through the growing pains, and for the Bulls to see what they have in this kid. G League accomplishes nothing, in my opinion.
I agree. I'm not with it. What do you feel with?
I mean, yeah, I want to see more minutes in the NBA. I think Modest is, he's obviously a very skilled player, and he shows flashes when we have a chance to see him. I think that there's also more, like, people see the dunks and the block shots, and I think they get really excited, and justifiably so. I also think that there's, like, rotational scheme, defensive stuff, and physicality stuff that make it difficult for him to be out there for, like, a long period of time.
Agreed.
And I think that's why Billy tends to favor Patrick, just because he is a more physical body. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's like the season is not about the wins and losses this season.
Correct.
But that difference of opinion is not Billy's problem to answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's doing his job. It's the people who are making the decision of what direction the team should go in. Those are the people whose opinions I'm disagreeing with.
Yeah, yes.
And I hear what you're saying about
mine is only coming from the fact that we know Billy is trying to win. That's the only argument it's coming from. When I say I want to see him out there playing, helping you win, is because Billy, if anybody's told you they want to win, it's Billy.
Yep.
So if you're telling me you want to win, then let me see you do what is best to try to get you that victory. And I think it's playing a guy like Modest Buzelli.
And to that point, I saw the Bulls shared their routine teammates boarding the team plane at the beginning of a road trip video that they do on their socials.
Yeah.
It was a blistery cold.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Day out there on the tarmac, and
Modest.
a bunch of Bulls, and like Lonzo was talking about the weather, and people. Modest is getting on the plane, and they were like, what are you looking to get out of the road trip or whatever? They were talking about cold and going somewhere warm, And Modest's answer was like, I don't care about any of that. I'm just hoping to get a couple wins. And he said, actually, you know what? No, all the wins.
Yep.
Not a couple wins, all the wins.
Every one
That's
of
what
them.
I care about.
That's what he cares. And what Katie cares about is getting these likes up, ladies and gentlemen.
Those are Katie's
Hit that
wins.
thumb button.
Bro,
Those are Katie's
there's
wins.
like 150 plus people who have not hit the like button yet.
That is
What?
a shame.
That is violently rude.
I don't,
we got
I don't want
over-
to scare you and say
we
Katie
got
knows
well
where you
over
live.
200 of y'all hanging out with us late on a Sunday night. Bless your hearts, by the way.
Yeah.
I said that before. I'll say it again. Thanks for hanging out with the late night crew.
She will come to your house.
But for the love of God, if you're sitting here talking Bulls basketball on a loss, a fifth straight loss for a team that is so confused and aimless, you are a diehard fan.
Yeah.
You know what diehard fans do? Hit the like button.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I want to say this about Zach.
Go for it.
We're seeing old Zach now, and that's not good. And I'm not saying that it's his fault. It's not. It's not his fault. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. He feels like he's like, I need to be doing this to put us in a better position to win. Nobody else is out here, being able to get to the bucket. Nobody else is out here being able to score, to facilitate, to do all those things. And we see him trying to do all of this stuff. And you could just tell when it's really heavy on him. And because that's when the mistakes come, man. Like you see him. I saw him more frustrated tonight with officiating than I've seen all season long. Mm-hmm. He was yelling at that ref. First, he was arguing with Chauncey Billups about it. And then he's with the ref arguing about it. And then when the game's over, he's back with the ref arguing about the call. Like, I ain't seen Zach Veen do that all year, man. Like, usually all season, he's just been cool, calm, and collected. But it's starting to weigh on him a little bit, as it should, as a player who's trying to win and is out there doing all the things that Zach LaVine does very well. Again, 27 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Like, he got out there trying to win and do what is necessary for your team. But the fact he's doing so much is what leads to the turnovers. He had 4 turnovers tonight. And they were all bad ones, 7 out of bounds, the throwing the ball away. It was really tough for him.
One of his reckless drives in the second half, you and I at the same time both said, that's that Zach.
That was that Zach.
It's so easily recognizable.
It is.
You even said, I've seen that look on his face.
I know that look. I know the walk.
You could tell even just by him walking it up the court.
Yes.
Like, they just weren't in their offense at all.
Yeah, man. Like, you could just see it in the way he does everything, because we've seen it so many times. In his mannerisms, and like you said, how he brings the ball up the floor, even how he passes it, man. Like, he's just trying to make something happen. And that just lets you know what it looks like when the team is not on the same page. That's why Vuc is punching chairs. That's why he's talking in the locker room. They're not on the same page. And notice the guys I'm saying are the 2 guys who are leading your team. Like, that's what I'm talking about. So, yeah, man, Zach has definitely been doing that the last few games. It's not a trend I want to see continue for him. I like him to just get back to being smoother, but it just lets you know, man, that they are really, really struggling right now. And Zach is really just trying to find a way to win.
All right. We can transition now to this report that came out yesterday. And a way to transition, I want to share just a delightful little sequence in our chat. Shout out to Julia. Hi, Julia, who said, whatever happened to P. Will supporter? Katie's response was, P. Will supporter is probably in a padded room somewhere.
Damn.
Maybe in a padded room, still believing in Patrick Williams' untapped potential and ceiling.
Rocking back and forth.
Maybe they changed their username.
Maybe they
did
changed their
that.
username and are still here, lurking among us.
Hanging around, man.
Out there. P. Will supporter, bark twice if you're in Milwaukee.
If they're still here, I think they need to show themselves. I need to know who it is.
I mean, look, I get it, because for a period of time, and our guy Mark K would scold me for it. Not necessarily scold, but just try to have discourse about what I was. There was a point in time when I believed in Patrick Williams' future.
Sure.
And it just gradually eroded and eroded and eroded because of the evidence that I was seeing with my eyeballs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now there's just nothing left.
Dude, it's like
my faith in Pat was the giving tree, and I was the tree, and he was the little kid, and all he did with my faith was just take and abuse and abuse and take. I'm just a tree stump. My faith in Patrick Williams is nothing but an old little stump.
Stumptown.
Mm-hmm. And if at some point later in life, Patrick, as an old man, comes back and is like, I'm an old man. I don't really want anything anymore. I just need a quiet place to sit. In the book, the tree, bless her heart, is like, well, I'm just a stump, but you can sit on me. No, I will not offer the same to Pat. Giving Tree is done.
All right. If anybody has not read that book, I'm gonna need
never
you
read
to
The
go
Giving
grab
Tree?
that. No, I say if anybody has not read that book, I'm gonna need them to go get
It's
that.
a classic, but like it's like one of the most famous children's books of all time. But like when you read it back as an adult, you're like, yo, this is really dark.
It's really sad, man.
It's really sad.
Yeah. Clifford the Big Red Dog. Stick with that.
Oh yeah.
Stick with that.
Berenstein Bears.
Oh yeah. Oh, Bears. That's
Goosebumps,
fire, man.
For the YA audience.
Goosebumps, man.
That
Like
fire.
Did you see that they made a Hulu original series of one of the Goosebumps stories?
I did,
Yeah,
and
with
if I
David
could,
Starring David Schwimmer.
Yeah,
if I
saw
can
that.
flex on you here for a minute, I
Flex.
actually went to like an event where R.L. Stein was like speaking, and they showed an
flex.
episode of that Hulu thing before he came out and spoke. So flex.
R.L. Stein,
He is impressed.
boss. My bookshelf
Well
as a
done.
kid was just so many Goosebumps.
Mm.
They were great. They were fun reads.
A lot of goosebumps there.
You know what wasn't a fun read? The latest from Joe Cowley. Let's talk about it.
Segway pack.
So, in case you missed it yesterday, it was Saturday afternoon. This report dropped from Joe Cowley. There's a lot of stuff in here, but here's the headline. Talking about the Bulls obviously making Zach and Vuc available for trade, he said, but now it's becoming clear that even some pieces the Bulls were counting on to be a part of that future are looking more suspect than prospect. A source Saturday told the Sun-Times that Karnisovas finally has bought into the idea that the 23-year-old forward Patrick Williams needs a change of scenery, opening the door for him to be on the trade block too. Before we dive into some of the other nitty-gritty details of Cowley's, it also maybe not a coincidence that Pat actually just became trade eligible a few days ago because of his freshly signed contract. But
Yeah.
wow, I don't think that's the only reason why this report just came out.
What other reasons do you have?
That maybe AK doesn't believe in Pat anymore because evidence.
Because what's happening on the floor.
Yeah,
makes sense.
that's my theory. I don't know what y'all think.
It's not bad. Not a bad theory. Go ahead.
I mean, I think the idea of trading Patrick right now is like kind of a horrible idea. Like, I know that's going to be a hot take for people because our camera just
And we're back.
died and we're back.
Don't touch it, Katie.
I know people are super frustrated with Patrick for not living up to their expectations and for not being good enough. I'm not denying that. I do think it's bad business to overpay a guy and then immediately try to trade him when he is at the lowest point in his value. Like, that's just not productive right now. Like, I've talked to people around the league. Patrick's value is negative right now. He's not getting you something. You're attaching something to get off of him. And like, the Bulls are not in a position to do that. Period. They didn't do it with Zach. They're not going to do it. Like, they cannot do that. The best thing for the Bulls and Patrick right now is to, lie in the bed that they made with this and learn lessons from this when you're talking about next summer and the restricted free agents that are on your roster that you're going to have to make decisions about, and try to put Patrick in the best positions that he can to succeed, because hopefully he will play to a point where he becomes a positive asset again, and then you can try to move him. But like, the idea of overpay a guy, immediately determine you're done with him, and then like decide you're trading him and not be like talked off that position, that's how you end up in the same position that Zach is in right now. It's, you sign the guy
Bingo.
for what you think should be tradable, you make up your mind about him, and then you try to trade him, you lose leverage. Like, they can't do that with Patrick. And I think I get the frustration with him. I have not been like, he's been playing poorly. There's no other way to put it. I'm not like defending him, but that would be a bad business decision to try to dump him or move him. Now, some people might say, well, he's 23. He's a former 4th overall pick. Maybe you saw his upside. That's the stuff that you have been feeding and eating yourself, which is why he's in this position in the first place. Like, people around the league are not attached to him in that way. They didn't draft him for it. They would be looking at him as like maybe a reclamation project, but at $5 million a year on his rookie deal, sure. At $18 million a year for 5 more years, that's a liability.
That's an expensive project.
He has to play his way out of this. The Bulls have to put him in a position to play his way out of this. That's on both sides. But like, yeah, I mean, to trade him right now would be just I mean, they would be giving up picks to do.
That was beautifully well said. It makes it more interesting to me that you like, well, give him the ball more.
I'm not saying give him the ball.
No.
Figure out a way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let me finish it. So, well, saying that means I'm thinking in my head, well, that means Zach's got to get out of here. That means Vuc's got to get out of here. You got to clear out some more guys, and putting him in the best position, which is what people think it is putting him at the 3 and handing the ball to him and then just letting him go. That's what I mean when I say that. That's what people are thinking. That's what we're going to get the best version of him out of Zach if he does. I'm sorry, out of Pat if he does that.
Or as Joel and Jeff Brox pointed out in the comments, that's a great way to get some tank wins. Just to make your team all about Patrick Williams.
Yeah, he might get 20.
But I think that's the issue is like you had the excuse the last couple of years of, DeMar's like sucking out all the oxygen of the room and Pat doesn't have any dribbles and now he can't score. It's like this system is built for everybody to succeed, right? They're running, they're making quick reads, they are not over dribbling, there's space on the floor, there's driving lanes, there's plenty of 3-point opportunities, there's plenty of opportunities to attack closeouts, there's plenty of opportunities in transition. Like, he should be thriving here, and he's not. And so I think they need to, I don't know what the answer is. They clearly don't either if this stuff is leaking out, but like, instead of, oh, let's just be done with him. Like, they need to be thinking, the Bulls need to be thinking, what can we do to put this guy in a better position? The idea of like unlocking him, turning him into like, and this is the same thing with like Kobe and Io and their potential. It's like, these guys are 23, 24 years old. They've been in the league for 5 years. Like, they're young, but they're not like the upside potential part of their growth curve is like kind of in the past at this point. Like, you have, and that's what you were talking about with Mark's comment too. It's like, they're good players, but they're not star players. If they were star players or they had potential to be, they would be succeeding more, and the Bulls wouldn't be the 10th seed for the 3rd straight year. So I think it's the same thing with Pat. You just need to find other ways to unlock them. And maybe that is just moving on from some of your veteran guys to like remove some of the stakes, the, just seriousness of the basketball, like let them make mistakes a little bit more. And like that could help. Again, I don't know the answers, but I just don't think that the idea of like fire Pat into the sun is like productive at all. It doesn't help anybody. It would be hurting the Bulls to do that.
And look, on the thing about trying to unlock him, our friend Jason Ashland in the comments saying Bulls don't know how to develop players. And that's been a common comment from Bulls fans who are frustrated with not only Pat, but the lack of development when we're embarking upon, we've got half a foot out the door, but embarking upon theoretically a youth movement, and this team seemingly struggling to develop their young talent and make them better.
Sorry.
Well, no, I was just going to say there is evidence of some development from some of these young players.
Okay.
Some have improved more so than others, but there are examples. Io has not shot the ball well this year, but he was a 40% three-point shooter last year. He put in the work. Peter Patton worked with him. Dalen Terry couldn't hit the broadside of a barn when he came into the NBA.
That's a fact.
Now he can hit an occasional three.
An occasional barn.
It's modest development, but it's development. And I say that because I then want to say this, which was another piece of this Cowley report from yesterday. The Bulls coaching staff has been trying to unlock, also your word, Goat, Williams' potential for years. And while he has had setbacks with injuries, the source said Williams hasn't been easy to work with. Y'all listening? As in the case with most NBA teams, individual coaches are matched up with individual players, and there has been frustration on both sides with previous matchups, i.e. Pat and different Bulls coaching staff members. The source stressed that Williams hasn't been volatile or difficult in terms of his behavior. It's more about him not being completely comfortable to buy in to what's being communicated. Director of Player Development Peter Patton has stepped in to take over those duties, and it seemed as though Williams was finally onto something when he averaged 11.2 and 4.6 in November. In Williams' last 9 games, however, he's averaged a disappointing 6.6 and 2.6. That infuriating stat is going to do it for those of you watching on our streaming services. Thank you for tuning in. Head to allchgo.com to get the bonus coverage. So that's the first I heard that detail about Pat being passed around to different Bulls coaching staff members, assistant coaches, player development staff, because one by one, they all threw their hands up and said, I give up with this guy. I can't with this guy. And like Modest has already been putting in hard work with Peter Patton on his 3-point shot. This season, his rookie season, people talk about hitting the rookie wall. Modest is in the gym extra, working with Patton on trying to get that 3-point shot to come around.
That's true.
And, you know, I was saying this when we were chatting with our friends Briscoe and Melissa on their pod. Shout out to Bulls on Tap, last week. What evidence have Bulls fans seen of Pat putting in work to improve any element of his game?
Yeah.
Especially on the offensive end where Bulls fans are wanting to see some theoretical untapped potential. And now we are hearing that Bulls staff have worked and tried. And all of them have worked and tried. And now maybe Peter Patton is the last gasp of someone who can unlock Pat. You know what? They've been trying for years.
I'm going to say this real quick, and then I want to hear what the GOAT has to say, or the Gottlieb. But I've said this stuff kind of about Pat for about 2 years now, how he's a guy that has to know every single thing that is happening before he can know what he does. So, I likened it to an actor who always is asking, what's my motivation? Like, they've got to know, where's the scene? Where's the light? Where's the camera? Who's doing this? A method actor, correct. What's going on here? Who's going to be here? Who's carrying the tray of water? Where's waiter number 5? They've got to know all this stuff before they can say, okay, here I go, and let me do it. You can watch his game and you can see that. You can sit there and see that dude thinking when he's got the ball in his hands. And I don't mean that in a positive way. You see him about to, okay, I'm going to got this. All right, I'm going to hit them with the shake. I'm going to cross over, and then I'm going to pump fake and pull up. I see him think it. And then you're like, oh, the defender knows it too. And here comes the ball slapped out of his hands every time. He is definitely a method actor when he approaches something. That word trust, Matt, is huge for me to hear something like that. That is huge because it lends back into what I've always felt about his game, man. Like, he has to be comfortable. He has got to have it all. I'm not saying, like, if he feels that he's going to get 25 and 12. That's not what I mean. But you're not going to get this trash that we're seeing him out there do. But, man, he really has to have things lined up and like this. This is my opinion. He's got to have things lined up and know where everything has to be and know that he's got the love and support system around him like that before he can attack and go do things. He has to know it's okay. Some guys need to know it's all right to do and have to have that kind of trust from their coaching staff, from their players, and from things like that. That's what I've always seen from Pat. That is interesting to me to hear that because I've sure been on that tip for like 2 years now saying that. But, yeah, that's it for me. Go ahead, go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what more to add to that. I feel like I don't know what Pat's relationships are like. I don't know how he views himself in the world or in the ecosystem that the Bulls are trying to run. All I know is that it doesn't seem like anybody's really thrilled with the result. So I do feel like they just need to be thinking more outside the box and trying new stuff because, like, what's happening now is not working. So try to figure something else out.
Is the other way also kind of what you said about putting the ball more so, well, not what you said, kind of what I was saying about giving him the ball a little bit more, putting it in his hands. I'm talking about if Zach and all those other guys get traded. I mean, like, and he gets that opportunity to do those things. Is that
maybe, but like he struggles with the ball in his hands too. So it's like I don't feel like that's a better option. I feel like
different option. I didn't mean better. I mean
this is like me speculating. It's hard for me to like really say how he feels about it. To me, it feels like he needs to survey the whole court when he has the ball so he knows what to do, like what you're saying. And so it's hard to do that if you don't have the ball. And it's hard to do that if you're in this like more space and pace type offense where you're having to make quick decisions. And it feels like for some reason, the quick decision-making part, he's struggling with that. And so if you slow the game down, yeah, maybe you like give him more opportunities, but if he's struggling with the ball in his hands to create separation, then he's not gonna be able to get his shots off anyway. So again, like I don't think this is like a Bulls problem or a Pat problem. It's an everybody problem. I just don't know what the answers are, and clearly they don't either. I mean, I don't know that there are answers. Maybe the answer is that AK's right in that comment that he just needs a change of scenery, and like that would be what it is. But I just think now is not the right time to do that either. And so I think this is the larger picture issue with the roster right now is that the guys who are on good, valuable contracts, they're not looking to trade. And the guys who aren't are the ones that they're wanting to trade. And at a certain point, you have to be collecting good assets. And if you're trying to offload everything by attaching picks to do that, you're going to end up with just bad assets on your team. And like they have to be thinking more strategically. I do not think they would be giving up picks. They, like I said, would not do that for Zach this summer when they had opportunities to do so. And I don't think they're going to do it with Pat. But I also don't think Pat is like the 4th overall pick shine is like working for him anymore. Clearly it's not from the comments, but just because you're mad at him doesn't mean somebody else is going to take a chance. Like, I think that's the disconnect there is like people can be excited about, okay, yeah, AK's finally turned the page on Pat, but he's not going anywhere because there's nothing to get for him.
Yeah. It's just the latest wrinkle of this very precarious house of cards that AK has built for himself, and the fact that he doesn't seem to know how to not make it collapse. That's going to do it for tonight. Thank you all for tuning in late on a Sunday night. But hey, we got it in under midnight Chicago Central Time. That's great. Might not be the same case tomorrow because for those of you true sickos, for you night owls, the Bulls tip off tomorrow. Again, reminder, they're previously scheduled Tuesday game against the Clippers changed to tomorrow, 9:30 Central Time tip. That's going to be a late one.
That's a late one.
We will be here. Pre-game, 9 p.m. Have your dinner, have your after-dinner tea, or whatever you get your sleepy time, hat on, and come hang out for pre-game, and then see if you can make it through the game, and then we will be here. We're live post-game. And by the way, only live pre- and post-game show in town tomorrow night, don't you know?
It might just be us sleeping on camera, but
won't be the first time.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
Hit the like button on your way out if you haven't done it yet. Oh, do we need to shout out a couple super chats real quick, Katie? Yes, let's do that. Date Mike, always around, always super chat. Appreciate you saying a couple more losses coming up with LA and Golden State. Can someone send a memo to Philly to stop losing games?
Man,
come on,
dog.
we're trying to take
just talking about this with the GOAT.
Sixers have got to get it together.
Their schedule is ugly. They got the Nuggets next, then they've got Cleveland, and then
out.
They play the Bulls.
And Embiid's out.
And Embiid's out, man.
Shout out to Martin Rangel who threw us a super chat. Also, Fernando Rodriguez with a $9.99 saying, so glad they keep giving big contracts to busts like Zach. Contracts, Bulls, CHGO screen for Zach to cough, Peck, LOL, I kid. Yeah, I wasn't throwing a parade down the streets of Chicago when the Bulls signed Zach to that contract. I was one of many level-headed people who said it was probably the best of several bad options where they were with Zach at the time.
That's just what you did in the old CBA. And then the rules changed, and that hurts the Bulls. But life goes on. You got to figure it out.
Life goes on.
Was it a mistake? I don't know. I genuinely think it was the right call for them to do at the time. It hasn't worked out well, but it was the right call for them to do at the time.
Sometimes it's like that.
All right. Follow the GOAT, Will_Gottlieb, read his stuff, ALLCITY.com. Big day, bam. AWL Sports. Shout out to the Queen of the Controls, the one and only Katie Duffy. Up late with us. Bye. I am Bulls_Peck. We are CHGO_Bulls. See you, Red. Be good. We will see you late tomorrow night. Bulls Nation, get some sleep.
Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.